My sister, 27F, was visiting my wife, 32F, and me, 33M, at our house the other day, and what should have been a simple family visit turned into an argument that completely changed the way everyone sees each other. I honestly never expected things to get this bad because, for the most part, my sister and my wife have always been able to be around each other. They are not the type of people who would call each other best friends, but they could have normal conversations and be respectful. However, there has always been one topic that creates tension between them. My sister's decision not to marry the father of her child. My sister is 27 years old and has a 5-year-old son with her now. Ex-boyfriend, who is also 27. When my sister found out she was pregnant, she told him immediately. At that time, they were still together, and he wanted to get married. He believed that because they were having a child together, marriage was the natural next step. He wanted them to have a wedding and become a family officially. But my sister said no. She decided that a baby was not a reason to force two people into a marriage if they were not sure they were right for each other. She told him that she didn't believe they would be compatible in the long run and that she didn't want them to get married only because they felt pressured by the situation. Some people in our family disagreed with her decision. Some thought she should have just accepted the proposal because they already had a child on the way, but I never saw it that way. I always believed that bringing a child into a marriage where two people are unhappy can sometimes create more problems than being separated and co-parenting. My sister never spoke badly about her ex-boyfriend. She never tried to keep their son away from him. She never used their child as a weapon. Instead, after their breakup, both of them worked hard to create a healthy co-parenting relationship. They have a 50-50 custody arrangement. They both have good jobs. They both provide for their son. They live close to each other so their child can easily spend time with both parents. From everything I have seen, they have handled a difficult situation in a very mature way. Their son has two parents who love him. That is what matters to me. But my wife has always had a different opinion. My wife believes my sister made a mistake by not marrying him. She thinks that because they already had a child together, they should have stayed together and worked things out. She also dislikes the fact that my sister calls her ex-boyfriend her baby daddy. My sister doesn't say it as an insult. She simply uses the term because that is the reality of the situation. He is the father of her child, but he is no longer her partner. However, my wife feels that using that term shows that my sister does not take marriage and family seriously. Over the past 5 years, this has become a repeated argument. Almost every time my wife sees my sister, she eventually brings up the same topic. She asks why my sister doesn't try to get her ex back. She asks why she doesn't let him propose again. She asks why she has chosen to remain single for so long. She says things like, "Don't you think your son deserves a complete family?" My sister has always tried to stay calm. She would usually just smile, avoid arguing, and move the conversation somewhere else. She didn't want a family fight. She didn't want to create problems between me and my wife. But eventually, after hearing the same comments over and over again, she reached her limit. She told me privately that she was tired of constantly having to defend her life choices. She said she didn't understand why people acted like her. Son was missing something just because his parents weren't married. She asked me if I could talk to my wife about it. I agreed because I also felt that the comments were becoming unfair. I sat down with my wife and explained that she was allowed to have her own opinion, but she needed to stop bringing it up every time she saw my sister. I told her that my sister had made a decision about her own relationship, and even if we wouldn't make the same choice, we should respect it. I also reminded her that my sister and her ex were doing something many people fail to do, putting their child's needs before their own feelings. My wife listened, but I could tell she still believed my sister was making the wrong choice. I hoped she would let the issue go. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. A few days later, my sister came over to our house. The visit started completely normally. We were laughing, talking, and catching up. My sister was telling us about her son starting kindergarten. She talked about how excited he was, how she was preparing him for school, buying things he needed, and trying to make the transition easier for him. She was just being a proud mother talking about her child. Everything seemed peaceful. Then my wife brought up the marriage topic again. She told my sister that she still thought she should go to the courthouse and marry her ex-boyfriend. My sister immediately became quiet. I could see she was uncomfortable. I knew exactly where the conversation was going. I was preparing to step in. But before I could say anything, my wife continued. She said that other parents at school would judge my sister. She said people might think she was immature. Then she said something that made the entire room uncomfortable. She suggested that some people would view my sister's child as illegitimate because his parents weren't married. At that moment, my sister completely lost her patience. For years, she had ignored comments about herself. She had accepted that some people would disagree with her choices. But hearing someone imply something negative about her son was different. She felt like my wife was attacking her ability to be a good mother. Before I could calm things down, my sister fired back. She told my wife that she should focus less on her relationship status and more on herself. Then she made comments about my wife's weight. She told my wife that she should worry about losing weight before worrying about someone else's marriage. She said hurtful things about her appearance and said that a wedding ring would not solve her insecurities. The words were harsh. There is no denying that. My wife has always struggled with her weight and appearance, and those comments hit exactly where it hurt the most. She started crying. My sister grabbed her things and left. The entire argument was over almost as quickly as it started. It was probably only 2 minutes, but the damage was already done. I just stood there frozen. I didn't know how to react. I knew my sister had crossed a line. No one deserves to be attacked about their body. But I also knew that my wife had crossed a line first by repeatedly judging my sister and bringing up her child in a hurtful way. After my sister left, my wife asked me a question I wasn't prepared for. She asked, "Why didn't you defend me?" She wanted to know why I didn't immediately take her side. I told her the truth. I told her that I understood why she was hurt, and I agreed that my sister's comments were wrong. But I also told her that I didn't believe the situation was completely one-sided. I said that my sister's reaction was extreme, but it came after years of feeling judged and criticized. I told my wife that calling my sister immature and suggesting that her child was somehow less because of her relationship status was also deeply hurtful. My wife did not agree. She believes that as her husband, I should have defended her immediately. She says that no matter what happened before, I should have stood up for her when my sister insulted her. I believe that I should have protected both of them from hurting each other. I wish I had stepped in sooner. I wish I had stopped the conversation before it became an attack. But I also don't know if I was wrong for refusing to pretend that my sister's reaction happened for no reason. Now my wife is giving me the silent treatment. My sister doesn't want to come over anymore because she feels unwelcome. And I feel stuck between two people I care about. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Was I wrong for not defending my wife after my sister insulted her? Or was my sister's reaction understandable after years of being judged and criticized?